It's my favorite segment of the week here on the Commanders Report. It is the mailbag segment here on the Commanders Report where I get to answer your questions. And, most of the time I'm just sitting at my desk here at Chat Sports wondering what you guys want me to talk about today. That load gets taken off my shoulder a little bit today because you get to tell me what you want me to talk about on today's edition of the Commanders Report. We're going to be talking draft, trade, free agency, cap space, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm game. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. But first, make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we try to give you guys the most interactive fan community here on the Commanders Report than you're going to get anywhere else on Commanders YouTube. We put out daily community posts for you guys to engage with. We put out daily videos, and we engage with your comments. And then also we do these live shows every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, where you guys get your opportunity to get your questions on the show. So we really do appreciate all of your guys' support. So if you want a place to talk Commanders football with your fellow Commanders fans, this is the place for you. I highly implore you guys to click that subscribe button right now and join our family today. We got one from Ebony, right? Thank you so much, Ebony. Says, do you think we will get Myles Garrett? I sure hope so, Ebony. I think that it's certainly a possibility. The Commanders have the cap space to give him the contract that he wants. Obviously, the Commanders are in a position to win, which is really what he wants. That's the reason why he wants out of the Cleveland Browns, because he doesn't feel like they're in a position to win. The Commanders certainly are, with Jayden Daniels, a superstar quarterback, on a rookie contract for the next 4 seasons. So that's going to allow Garrett to not only make his money, but also play with a great quarterback and have a chance to win Super Bowls. So I think that it's a match made in heaven. Just a matter of, if the Commanders can come to a deal. I think it's going to cost at least 2 first-round picks to make it happen. But if you ask me, I think it's more than worth it, because you're not going to be spending those first-rounders on a quarterback, for example. So might as well get a player here that's going to be as impactful as any defensive player that you could possibly draft with those 2 first-rounders. All right, so I think it's more than worth the price. I think he's worth the contract. Personally, I would be sending the house to go get Myles Garrett. Then we got one from your boy Football Elite. What's up, my man? Says, which running back do you like in this draft? I like a lot of running backs in this draft, man. There's a lot of them. I really like R.J. Harvey out of UCF. I like Devin Neal out of Kansas. Obviously, I like the top guys. Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton are unbelievably good. Also, Cam Skadaboo is fun. Caleb Johnson is a great zone runner. There's a lot of really good players in this draft, and I'm really excited to see if the Commanders take one, and if they do, where they take one. Personally, I would probably lean towards more day 3, try to just take a flyer on somebody, because Jayden, let's face it, is going to be the face of the offense. You don't have to spend a super high draft pick on a running back. Plus, it's a great running back class. You can get a steal in the later rounds. So it'll be interesting to see who falls, and if Adam Peters pulls the trigger on one of those kind of sleeper-type running backs this year. Then we've gone from Gregory Pett. What's up, Greg? Says, now with T gone, what's the next wide receiver we go after? It could be Cooper Kupp. I kind of like the idea of Deebo Samuel because Cliff Kingsbury likes to put people kind of close to Jayden with kind of these 2 type of running back sets. He likes to get creative with that. He likes to get creative with certain orbit motions. And, of course, we know how much Cliff loves to run wide receiver screens early downs. So I think that Deebo is kind of the chess piece that could really work in the Commanders' offense at this point in his career. And I really think that would be something that I would love to see. But Cooper Kupp is certainly somebody that could work if they could figure something out with his contract, not have to pay him $20 million against the cap next year. Also, Chris Godwin, I think, would be an excellent fit in free agency. Another guy that would probably cost $20 million on the open market, maybe even more than that. But I think Godwin came off an incredible season last year before he dislocated his knee. So I think it's certainly worth the risk to bring in a guy like Godwin, who is a consummate pro. I would say those 3 guys are guys to keep your eye on at this point. Now, shout out your guy down there in the comments section. Name a wide receiver that you want the Commanders to pursue in 2025. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by naming a wide receiver you want to go get this offseason. Got one coming in from my man, Gary. Love that profile picture, Gary. We got, how well do you think opposing defenses will adapt to JD5? Honestly, not well, because it's so hard to play Jayden, man. It really is. because he can just beat you in so many different ways. With the VR technology, he's one of the most intelligent quarterbacks in the National Football League already. He knows what the defense is trying to do to him because he's already seen that defense all week. And he's just used to seeing it at like 2 times the speed that it is in an actual game. So I love what Jayden does with his mind, but obviously he's got great arm talent, phenomenal deep ball, super fluid and quick release. So as a passer and within structure, he's phenomenal. But as we saw this past year, he's one of the best out of structure playmakers in the game as well. Phenomenal throwing on the run. And then obviously what he does with his legs is absolutely dynamic. And, there's just certain guys in the league that are, if you put good players and a good scheme around them, they are borderline unstoppable. You look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at Josh Allen, you look at Lamar Jackson, what the kind of numbers and the kinds of things that they're able to do with competent surrounding casts. I think that Jayden Daniels is the same way. And I think that, this is an offensive league. And as long as you got an elite offense, you can pretty much, enforce your will on an opposing team. So, I honestly think that Jayden, if anything, is going to even get a little bit better next year with yet another offseason working with the VR technology, another offseason working with his guys. I'm really excited about Jayden's sophomore season. And right now, he might be my favorite to win MVP of the league. Then we got Vern Herman. Says, will Ben Sinnott get used more this year? I certainly hope so. I liked him coming out. He's a good route runner, good athlete. Now he's got short arms, and he doesn't have the biggest catch radius in the world for a tight end. But it's going to come down a little bit to if they bring back Zach Ertz, which I think that they will. So I think Sinnott will get another year of kind of being a number 2 tight end. But we'll see what happens there. If they don't bring back Ertz, it's certainly Sinnott's job to lose. It'll be interesting to see if they draft a tight end. It's a great tight end class. So they could certainly draft another tight end to pair with Sinnott, but I would certainly hope so, and I would certainly guess that heading into year 2 of his NFL career, he's going to get a little bit more work. Then we got one from Jay. Says, Joey Bosa is rumored to be released at 29 years old, just like Garrett. What would he cost? Not as much as Garrett, obviously. Joey has dealt with a lot of injuries. He hasn't been as productive, not nearly as productive as Garrett. So I think that Bosa, maybe $20 million per season, something around that range. Now, it's going to be tough to determine that just because of the cap number going up. He is a former very high draft pick. He is still very talented. So he's certainly an option. But honestly, I think I'd rather have Khalil Mack more than Joey Bosa at this point. I think Mack is a slightly better fit for the defense that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. want to run here in Washington. So honestly, Bosa's not even, I would even say he might be borderline top 5 on my list of edge rushers at this point, just because of the injuries, the lack of consistency. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. I'd love to have him here, but I think there's other edge rushers I'd rather have for sure. Make sure you guys check out our friends at Fanatics, where you guys can get an awesome deal on a brand new Commanders t-shirt today when you go to chatsports.com/Commanders shirt. And, the reason why we bring this up, guys, is because if you take our link, chatsports.com/Commanders shirt, and you make a purchase, again, it's on sale, you help out our show, all right? Fanatics sends us part of the proceeds for every single purchase that is made when somebody clicks on our link. So pretty much, guys, it helps us get better equipment. It helps us get better graphics. It helps improve our show. So if you want to help yourself out, get a new Commander shirt, and you want to help us out at the same time, this is your opportunity right now. Fanatics has a great deal. This shirt is on sale right now. So go get it right now. Chatsports.com/Commander shirt to get it done. Got one from Big E. Says, take Myles Garrett out. Who are we going for next? I think Stanley, but let me hear the next 3 moves. Next 3 moves. Goodness gracious. The 3 players that I'd love to get outside of Garrett, I would love to get, how about we get Carlton Davis, really good man corner, as your number 2 corner. Let's get Ronnie Stanley to be our left tackle because he has experience protecting mobile quarterbacks. I think that's a skill set that I really cherish. Plus, he's played for really good football teams. We're trying to win now. Then the third thing that I would do is I would go get Chris Godwin. How about we go get Chris Godwin at wide receiver? I think that he's going to come at a discount because he did just dislocate his knee. And, of course, that's going to mean a little bit of risk. But I think Godwin's a hell of a player, man. And I think that he's going to come back with a vengeance next season. And it's not like you're asking Godwin to be your number one guy. He's going to be asked to be your number two guy behind Terry McLaurin. So I really like Godwin's skill set. I would love to get Carlton Davis, really good fit as a man corner, Ronnie Stanley, left tackle, and then Chris Godwin at wide receiver. Those would be the three moves that come to my mind just off the top of my head. Then we got on from Damascus Roberts here. Says, will the Washington Commanders trade for DK Metcalf? It's not impossible, but if I'd have to guess right now, Damascus, I'd say no, because if you trade for DK, you probably have to give up your first-round pick this year, and he's very expensive. So you'd be paying DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin big contracts, all right? So that's two receivers on your team getting paid elite money. Now, maybe the Commanders are okay with that. They certainly have the cap space to make that happen. But it's certainly something to keep in mind where he's going to be expensive in two different ways. You have to give up your first-round pick most likely to get him. And then number two, he's going to be a very expensive cap hit type of player. And you might have to give him a new contract as well. So there's possibilities for DK Metcalf in a Washington Commanders uniform. It'd be a lot of fun, I'll tell you that right now. But I would personally think there's other receivers with higher shots of being a Commanders next year. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Should the Commanders trade for DK Metcalf? Type T for trade or P for pass. Just so you know, you have to give up your first-round pick probably to get him. So keep that in mind when you give your answer here. Personally, I'd type my P for pass just because I think there's other opportunities out there for the Commanders that don't involve giving up the first-round pick. Some great questions today, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by the Commanders Report today. My favorite segment of the week, answering your questions. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now because we got more great stuff coming your way all throughout the 2025 offseason.